Hey everybody, I am Scotty J. Welcome back to Rock Titan Live. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you right now, we have a true rock titan with us. On Mount Olympus, amongst the greatest guitar gods that have ever lived, we have one with us today. He's got a brand new album out called Running Games, comes out on February the 12th. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by Joel Hoekstra. Joel, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Thank you so much for taking the time out today.
Well, it is my honor and privilege. You've actually been on my bucket list, man. You know, I've been waiting to talk to you for a long time, and it's just like you keep eluding me. But, now it's just like, well, you can't be on tour, because I know you've done a lot of that. And, of course, everybody knows you from Whitesnake these days, and you've been on tour with Cher. You were the guitarist for Rock of Ages on Broadway. And then, of course, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, And I guess I didn't get to see the live stream. They couldn't play live this year for Christmas, but I know they had a big, huge live stream. Were you on that?
I wasn't a part of the live stream. So
Okay.
the deal with TSO is that they started that basically with the guys in Sabotage. And then as it became so successful to maximize shows, there became a West band and an East band that are out simultaneously. So the original guys are Al Pitrelli and Chris Caffery. So those are the guys that usually do things like that.
Okay.
And then the rest of us are the guys that fill it out since it's split two ways. But I'll take what I can get with TSO. I'm lucky to be there. So it's all good, man, And Al and Chris are great dudes and great players, so happy to step aside for that one.
Yeah, right on. Well, I know you are definitely one of the hardest working musicians in the world. At least that's one of the ways in which you're dubbed. But, speaking of TSO, I thought it was very interesting. So on your new album, Running Games, it's going to be coming out for Joel Hoekstra's 13, your band. I noticed that you plucked one of the vocalists off there, I guess, for a guest appearance on the album, Chloe Lowry. Is that right?
Yeah, well, three of them. I mean, really, because Russell Allen sings with TSO as well. So Russ sang lead on the whole record, and then Jeff Scott Soto did the backgrounds, and he sings with TSO West. So Jeff and I don't tour together, but we see each other in rehearsals. And then Chloe also tours with TSO West, and I had her sing a little bit on the title track.
Right on, right on. So I'm curious. I mean, a guy like you, I would think, have your pick of the litter, for anyone you want to be in your band. You tell someone that you're going to be putting something together, and I would imagine, drummers, bass players, rhythm guitarists, vocalists, they're all waving their hand. I'll play with you, Joel. Yeah, definitely. I want in. Now, this is your second album, your first one being Dying to Live. Russell Allen is your vocalist, and I loved him with Adrenaline Mob, and Symphony X. Beyond that, you've got Vinny Appice, and you've got Tony Franklin, friend of ours, the Fretless Monster, and Jeff Scott Soto, like you said. What was it for you that made you put this particular cast together? What went into that thinking?
The way it came together for Dying to Live was Tony Franklin and I had just done this project called VHF together and loved his playing on it. And I thought, I want to do a rock album. I told him, and asked him if he'd be into it, and he said, yeah. And I thought, probably smart to ask the bass player, you have any drummers in mind, anybody that you'd like to play with, rhythm section, So he recommended Vinny, and I thought, oh, that's great. So now we got this kind of Dio-ish, Dio on steroids with Tony playing bass, man, and then right at that time, Russell Allen was joining TSO, and I started watching all his YouTubes. I was like, wow, this guy's perfect because he can sing the Dio stuff, but he can also sing the melodic stuff like Foreigner, and thought that's really where this is headed. So asked Russ, got him on board, and Jeff Scott Soto's been a friend. He helped me out with singing background vocals on the first one, and then finished up the lead stuff on the first one as well, because Russ was just, very busy at the time with Adrenaline Mob, and helped us meet the timeline and get it out. And then Derek Sherinian's just, he's the guy that to have all the great sounds and turn it around fast, have some great solos. So I have a little bit of a foil, somebody to trade with on the solo breaks. I did a lot more of that on this one with him. So yeah, I'm honored to have all of them be a part of it. And they're all good dudes too, man. I mean, it's a great mix of guys. Vinny's got so much character in his drumming, and he's not just like one of the modern drum shredder, so to speak. He's got a real personality and a real vibe to his playing. So he really gives the stuff a lot of character. So awesome to have all these guys, man. A thrill for me.
Right on. So, but it was Franklin that actually suggested Vinny?
Yeah.
And that's interesting considering he played with his brother in Blue Murder, and John Sykes, which is, another interesting parallel considering you're the guitarist for Whitesnake. And of course, everybody knows, John Sykes being, the original guitarist for that band. So that's pretty wild. And, kudos on Flesh and Blood too, by the way. I tried to catch up with you guys back when you had put that out, man. That was a great album, man.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
That's pretty cool, man. And I mean, you look at the guitarists that have been with Whitesnake over the years. You had to feel pretty honored to be getting together with David Coverdale, huh?
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, what's not to like? Great catalog of songs, and DC's great. Love working with him and for him, and he's been nothing but fantastic to me. So I'm hoping that we keep going. He's been great, and yeah, like you mentioned, I mean that's an amazing history of guitar players that have been in that band, and I'm lucky to be a small part of it.
Yeah, man. No, but that's cool though. But you've made your stamp, I mean, you've made your stamp with the band now, which I think is very, very cool. But, for you, you're not that much older than me, so that being said, you're a lot younger, than someone like Coverdale, who's been doing this a really long time. And he's, a legendary figure these days in rock and roll and metal. And then also you're out there touring with Cher. I mean, I got to ask, clearly you've played in front of huge crowds in the course of your life. I mean, you are a very celebrated musician in your own right. But to play with legends like that, I'm curious, how did the whole Cher thing come about?
So that was 2017. David was having knee surgery. So we knew that Whitesnake wasn't going to go out.
Right.
And I just took it upon myself to text people. I needed to really build a year because I was looking at, boy, I could sit around for 10 months and do TSO at the end of the year, or I can, build an interesting year and keep moving forward. So I ended up building an amazing year that year. It was lots of fun. I did lots of interesting things. And starting playing with Cher was, probably the top of it. I mean, I just reached out to everybody, and that ended up being my friend Justin Derrico, who plays with Pink and on The Voice as the lead guitar player, recommended me to Cher's guitar player, Dave Barry,
Wow.
who also plays on The Voice, as a potential fill-in. So I ended up going in just to fill in for a little bit, and then Dave and Justin got really busy. Justin was out with Pink doing a promo tour, and Dave, they needed him at The Voice more, and so I ended up doing a lot more of it than I ever anticipated. Amazing thing. That's one of those things that comes out of left field that you never see coming. I always tell people I wasn't an 11-year-old playing Black Sabbath riffs going, someday I'm going to play with Cher, but as it works out, it's, later in life, these things turn out to be huge blessings, and great talented musicians in that band, and blessed to know all those people for sure.
Now, did you get to have much interaction with her, or was it more or less one of those things where you just show up to the gig, play your part, and that's it? Or, is she like a sociable person? I'm just curious. She's very nice. It's just a very professional camp. So Sure.
It's more like you see her before the show in the circle, just like any other band, they do the circle thing. So, everybody's got you get the little pre-show pep talk from her, and that's really about it. Maybe a casual exchange here or there, but
Right.
it wasn't like we were like hanging out for coffee in the morning or anything like that.
That'd be pretty wild though, man, like a moonstruck type of thing, But no, I had to ask. But dude, so the music video that you guys just put out for Finish Line via Frontier Music, the animation, man, that was pretty cool. Whose idea was that? Did you have a hand in that at all?
In terms of, we talked about doing an animation video to support the album, just because there's such an abundance of quarantine videos right now. I was like, hey, it might be cool. I've always wanted to do an animation video, and I've seen some of them coming out on the Frontiers label. So they had somebody, Wayne Joyner, that they connected me with, and I basically just gave them I guess, basic idea of a storyline for it.
Okay.
And he really, I think, did a great job, man. I mean, it looks awesome. He hit it out of the park. And it's fun for me to have that, yeah, I guess, in my short history or whatever, brief history, to have like an animation video for one of my songs is cool.
Well, and you're animated. What was it like seeing yourself animated? You're a cartoon character. That's pretty cool.
A cartoon character. Yeah, pretty cool. I mean, I thought my kids would be more impressed than they are. Like, come on over here. You want to see Daddy? And do you look weird, Dad? I mean, everything was, like they're getting old enough now to look at it like, come on. Anyway, I thought they'd be more impressed, but it's really fun.
I mean, you'd have to be on The Simpsons or something, I guess, right? You'd have to be a character in The Simpsons or something like that.
Something that they watch on TV. I think for my daughter it would be Doc McStuffins right now. I mean, they're pretty young. I think if Doc McStuffins ever needs a guitar player and I was somehow animated on that show, I'd be in. Or if I appeared in Frozen 3, that would be.
You kind of have that Gustav look. I think that's his name, right?
Christoph.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely got that Nordic look about you.
I'm being heavily exposed to the Frozen stuff at this point. Frozen 1 and Frozen 2. And people ask me what I'm listening to. It's pretty much the soundtrack from Frozen 2 becomes the fallback.
It's fun times, man. I miss when my kids were small. Now they're all leaving me, But hey, it's like I get a do-over now, and now I don't have to be so consumed with having to be at home. I can venture out and stuff like that. So that's an interesting point. Since you do have young children, I'm guessing that, while you would love to be out on tour with your bands, making music and, playing in front of live crowds and everything, the last year has been a disaster, clearly, as far as all that goes. But I know, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I've talked with a lot of guys, in your world, and it's kind of been a blessing to a certain extent because, they've had to be at home. They get to be with their family, spending time that they don't normally get to spend with them. Would you look at it that way as well?
It started out for me being like, all right, this is meant to be, and this is an opportunity to just put on the dad hat for a while and not worry about work. So I'd say the first couple months I spent doing that, but then I'm pretty much like, once I realized this was going to go on, I was like, all right, I can't just sit back and burn a year and a half professionally or whatever, waiting for the world to open. So at that point, I just kind of formulated a game plan and got moving on everything. I mean, I think that as long as you just put your mind in the moment and try and stay productive, that allows you to cope with this a lot better than just sitting around waiting, looking at your watch going, when are we going to tour? When? I really haven't been doing that at all. I finished the album. I did the Echo Bats project with Tony Harnell.
Right.
I've been doing quarantine videos. Dino Jalusic and Mike Portnoy, we did that, covered Jane. And Stormbringer, I did Jen Majura's Jam with Nico McBrain. And so getting to play with all these people that, that normally you wouldn't get to play with. And I've been teaching 30 plus students a week. And I do cool. Master classes for Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp and Cameo personalized messages for people. I tend to have about 3-4 sessions a week for people that I do. I've been writing with people. I just got done writing for the project that's going to come out later, I think this year, with Michael Sweet and Nathan James, and writing with my friend Jim Peterick right now for an album he's producing. So, man, I'm going like nonstop, dude. Honestly, I'm probably busier right now. When you throw in the 2 young kids with that, it's like, I mean, dude, I'm rolling nonstop at the moment. So that for me works better than sitting around going like, gee, when am I going to tour again, and not pursuing any of these things. So I'm just trying to make the best of it. And that for me is like it's a daily thing, dude. It's like, what can I get done today? What can what's going to be a positive thing to keep me moving forward?
Man, doesn't take anything to motivate you, Joel. That's pretty wild. But the fact you brought up a couple of very interesting voices there. Mike Sweet, we had a chance. I love him. He's amazing. He's just an incredible person. But Dino Jalusic. Dirty Shirley I got introduced to a little while back, and oh man, that kid from Croatia. I believe he's from Croatia.
Yeah, Croatia.
What a voice!
Yeah,
I mean,
he's amazing. Yeah, and he plays all the instruments too, which is insane. I mean, he plays good keyboards and guitar and bass. I mean, it's completely crazy.
wow.
So yeah, sky's the limit for him, man.
Yeah, because I know. I mean, he jammed with George Lynch, so I mean, he's a spoiled brat, man. And he gets to play with you too. Well, I guess when you have a voice like that, you kind of get to play with some of the greatest.
Yeah.
musicians.
So Dino sings for TSO West as well. So we got to know each other there. We've known each other for a few
Okay.
years, and this is really our first time to kind of do a little something together.
right.
But he's done a great job of promoting himself online during this, with getting out all the videos that he's been doing, and he really spearheaded the Jane thing. And then I asked him if he would do a cover of Stormbringer with me for this 6-string salute thing that benefited all the crew that's out of work right now through Live Nation. It was a Live Nation event,
Nice.
and so yeah, he's amazing. I mean, I'll work with him anytime.
Right on, right on. So again, Running Games, it's coming out February 12th. Have you thought about at all, hopefully touring opens up in 2021? It can't be another repeat of 2020. I mean, come on. Would you want to go out on tour with the guys that are in your band? Is that something that you can foresee happening?
Of course. We did, for Dying to Live, we did one gig supporting it on the Monsters of Rock cruise, which was really cool to be able to pull that off. And so at least maybe that I would eye, and possibly more down the road, have an opportunity to do a little run with it would be amazing. And I mean, you never know. At this point, it's like, let's get the world open and take it from there, because like I said, I'm looking at this more like, what can I do today? So I'm not really looking at it like we're going back to touring. I mean, I want to be pleasantly surprised when we do. I just want to look at it right now in the moment of like, there's no touring, and here's what I can do to move forward in this time. And if my mindset's always looking at like what I don't have, it's not good.
Right. Well, that being said, I guess, kind of some parting thoughts, because I know you got to get going. But so Running Games is the second album that you've put out as Joel Hoekstra's 13, and the first one being Dying to Live. Now, like we kind of talked about earlier, Finish Line is the only thing anyone's really heard at this point out of Frontiers music. What would you tell your fans to expect in terms of what separates Running Games? Or is it like a continuation of Dying to Live, or is it something totally different? Did you do any kind of experimentation there? Anything like that?
Well, the first single actually was Hard to Say Goodbye, and that's up on YouTube as well. People can check out the audio for that.
Okay,
So
right.
There's 2 singles out at this point, Hard to Say Goodbye, and then the Finish Line, the video.
Right.
But in terms of, it's the same formula, that kind of Dio-ish at its heaviest and Foreigner-ish at its lightest thing. So the hard rock world, but melody running throughout being the consistent theme. Say Dying to Live, but more focused this time around.
Okay. All right. Well,
And a little bit more Derek Sherinian solos this time around. Give Derek a little more room this time.
Nice. Nah, that's very, very cool, man. That's cool. Well, Joel, thank you so much for joining us on Rock Titan Live, man. It has been a blast finally getting to catch up with you, because, again, the circles that we run in, it's like I've pretty much spoken with at least half the people that you're working with right now. So that is pretty darn cool. We got to get like like a Guitar Wars type thing, maybe something online, you shredding away, against some of the other guys, that are out there, some of your peers. I'm thinking of Vinny Moore, I'm got a shirt on here. And
yeah, well, I've been asked to do a couple of these shred compilation videos. That's the thing for like the younger generation. They're like the, more of the YouTube shredders, and I've done my solo in a couple of those now at this point. The second one is not quite out yet, but those are very interesting. And I've been thinking about, I wonder if like the pros would do that, like the big name guys. And I've been thinking about like that could actually be fun, but I don't know if people would be into it or not.
Man, I gotta tell you right now, Joel. Yeah, people would be into it, man. Come on.
No. The general public, like the guitar players out there, the fans would definitely be into it. But I don't know if the players would be into it.
Well,
if you're gonna ask the top guys, like, hey, you want to blow a 16-bar solo on this little change, and we're just gonna string together everybody. And I mean, it's kind of like when we were kids. kids in We're Stars was out. Remember that, the hearing aid, the Dio song,
Right on.
right?
Yeah.
And you got to hear all the guitar players strung together on that. But this would be cooler because you could get a little video of everybody.
Well, I tell you what, I know Vinny would rock out with you. Michelangelo Bedio, he would definitely rock out with you. I mean, there's
it'd be fun. I'm in the back of my mind. I'm thinking about that right now. I'm thinking like maybe I'd try and do that. I mean, I don't know if I would need to find out. I guess gauge whether or not people would be interested in that. But Vinny's amazing. I love Vinny, man. I go back to listening to him as a young teen, and he's just such a class act. He's always been so nice to me when I see him, and I just think he's an amazing, tasty, clean, awesome player, man.
He's a great dude, man. It'd be cool to see you guys jam together. But
oh my God, I'd be honored, man.
It would be awesome. That would be very, very cool. So everybody, if you've enjoyed this podcast with me and Joel Hoekstra, which I have every confidence you have, show us a little bit of love, give us a subscribe, give us a like. And if you don't, I want to know exactly why, you keyboard warriors out there that you are. Please leave comments. If there's anything that you would have liked to have known from Joel that I didn't ask, let me know. Maybe we can figure out how to get this done later on, But Joel, again, thank you so much for being on Rock Titan Live. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
All right, man. Scotty J, we're out.